In the dawn of time, when the world was young and the Nile first carved its path through the black silt of Africa, Egypt was ruled by gods. At the center of this golden age was Osiris, the first king of Egypt, and his sister wife Isis. Osiris was not just a ruler, he was the bringer of civilization. He taught the people the art of agriculture, showing them how to tame the river's floods and plant the seeds of life. He gave them laws, music, and the sacred scripts of the gods. Beside him, Isis shared her wisdom of healing and magic. Under their reign, the land of Kemet knew no hunger or war. It was a world of perfect balance, known as Mat, where the desert and the river lived in harmony. But where there is light, there must be shadow. Set, the brother of Osiris, was the god of the scorching desert, the red land, and the violent storm. While Osiris was loved by all, Set was consumed by a bitter, burning envy. He looked at the lush green valley of his brother and saw only what he lacked. Set believed that power should belong to the strong and the ruthless, not the benevolent. In the secret places of the desert, Set began to plot. He measured the very shadow of his brother, crafting a plan so precise and so cruel that it would shatter the divine family and plunge the world into a chaos that had not been seen since the beginning of creation. Set threw a grand banquet in honor of the king, inviting 72 conspirators. In the center of the hall stood a magnificent chest made of rare cedar wood and inlaid with gold, lapis lazuli, and ebony. Set announced a game. Whoever fit perfectly inside the chest would keep it as a gift. One by one the guests lay down, but they were all too tall or too short. Finally Osiris, encouraged by his brother's false smile, stepped into the box. He fit perfectly, for Set had built it to his exact measurements. In an instant, the conspirators slammed the lid shut, nailed it fast with lead, and sealed the king inside. The hall of celebration became a tomb in a heartbeat. The conspirators carried the heavy chest to the banks of the Nile and cast it into the dark, swirling waters. The river, recognizing the weight of its king, carried the chest out toward the great green sea. As the news of the betrayal spread, the sun dimmed, and the green plants of the valley began to wither. Isis, hearing the cries of the people, tore her royal robes and cut her hair in mourning. She did not fall into despair, however. She set out on a journey that would take her across nations, a lone queen searching for the body of her beloved, guided only by the whispers of the wind and the loyalty in her heart. The chest was eventually washed ashore in the distant land of Byblus, where it became entangled in the roots of a young tamarisk tree. The tree, touched by the divine presence of Osiris, grew at a miraculous rate, completely enclosing the chest within its massive trunk. The king of Byblus, amazed by the tree's beauty and scent, had it cut down to serve as a central pillar in his palace. Isis, using her magic to track the scent of her husband, arrived at the palace in disguise. She became a nurse to the queen's child, but her eyes were always fixed on the pillar, the silent tomb that held the light of Egypt. Revealing her true form in a burst of celestial light and hawk wings, Isis convinced the king of Byblus to give her the pillar. She cut open the wood and found the golden chest still sealed. With the help of the gods, she transported the body back to the hidden marshes of the Nile Delta. There she hid the chest among the tall papyrus reeds, hoping to find a way to breathe life back into the cold flesh of her husband. She prayed to the ancient powers of the earth, her magic vibrating through the water, creating a protective shield around the resting place of the king. While Isis was away gathering herbs for her magic, Set was hunting by the light of a full moon. By chance he stumbled upon the hidden chest. His fury was unmatched. Realizing that as long as the body existed, Osiris could return, Set tore the chest open. In a fit of demonic rage, he hacked the body of Osiris into 14 separate pieces and scattered them across the entire length of the Nile Valley. Now, Set laughed into the night sky. Let the great enchantress try to find him. He is no longer a man. He is the dust of the earth and the food of the river. Isis returned to find the chest empty and the reeds trampled. Beside her stood her sister Nephthys, who had abandoned Set to help the cause of Mat. Together the two goddesses transformed into kites, great birds of prey, and flew the length of Egypt. They searched every canal, every swamp, and every desert dune. One by one they found the pieces. In every place they found a fragment. They built a temple hollowing the ground. They found 13 pieces, but the 14th symbol of his virility had been eaten by the fish of the Nile. Isis, undeterred, fashioned a replacement out of pure gold and magic. Isis and Nephthys brought the pieces to the god Anubis, the jackal-headed lord of the embalming tent. Together they performed a ritual that had never been seen before. They washed the pieces in sacred oils, treated them with natron salts, and wrapped them in thousands of yards of the finest linen. This was the birth of the first mummy. Isis stood at the head, and Nephthys at the feet, chanting the secret names of the sun. They were not just preserving a body. They were creating a vessel for a soul to return from the west. They were weaving the fragments of a broken man back into the tapestry of a god. As the ritual reached its climax, Isis transformed into a hawk once more. She hovered over the silent, wrapped form of Osiris, flapping her powerful wings to create the breath of life. Her magic was so potent that for a brief, miraculous moment, the heart of Osiris began to beat again. In this liminal state, neither fully dead nor fully alive, Osiris and Isis conceived a son Horus, who would one day grow to avenge his father. But Osiris could no longer stay in the world of the living. His journey now led him to the Duat, the underworld, where he would reign as the supreme judge of the dead. Osiris descended into the halls of Mahat, seated upon a throne of lapis lazuli. He became the green-skinned lord of the underworld, the one who decides the fate of every soul. Before him the hearts of the deceased were weighed against the feather of truth. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul was granted eternal life in the field of reeds. Osiris became the hope of every Egyptian. He proved that death was not an end, but a transformation. He was the grain that dies in the winter only to sprout again in the spring. He was the sun that sets in the west only to be reborn in the east. While Osiris ruled the dead, Isis rode their son Horus in secret among the marshes of Chemmis. Horus grew into a powerful god with the head of a falcon, the rightful heir to the throne. The conflict between Horus and Set lasted for 80 years, a series of titanic battles that nearly tore the world apart. It was a struggle between order and chaos, between the rightful heir and the usurper. In the final battle, Horus emerged victorious, claiming the crown of his father. Set was not destroyed but banished to the desert, a reminder that chaos is always present but must be held at bay by the strength of Mat. The story of Osiris and Isis is the story of the human condition. It teaches us that love is the most powerful magic in the universe, capable of overcoming even the finality of the grave. It shows us that even when we are broken into 14 pieces by the chaos of life, we can be made whole again through the devotion of those who love us. The Egyptians saw the cycle of Osiris in every sunrise and every harvest. He is the eternal king who waits for us at the end of our journey, offering a life that never ends in a land where the Nile never runs dry and the sun never sets. The myth of the first mummification and the resurrection of the king remains the heartbeat of ancient Egypt. It is a testament to the endurance of the spirit and the sacredness of memory. We hope this journey through the gilded necropolis has illuminated the mysteries of the pharaohs for you. If you were moved by the love of Isis and the triumph of Osiris, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the ancient world. This entire visual journey was brought to life through the synergy of human history and the creative power of AI. Check the links in the description for our full Egyptian series and art prints. Until our next descent into the tombs of time, may your heart be light as a feather.